Hi guys, Brook Potter here, coming to you live from Aberdeen in Wales. This is the first day of the official Firebreak, which is basically the entire country of Wales has been put back into lockdown over the coronavirus. And at this point, it is so, beyond the pale, or as they say, they've jumped the shark. There is no science to support any of the decisions that are being made at this point. It is completely political as far as I'm concerned. Yes, there has been spikes in cases that have gone on, but the number of hospitalizations as well as the deaths have remained pretty low. They're saying, yes, that the intensive care units are basically at capacity. But, if you know anything about the NHS history, every winter there is an NHS crisis because of flu season, and all of the intensive care units are at capacity anyway. We're not anywhere above those numbers. We seem to be very much in line with what would be normally happening. Now, I'm not one of these people that don't believe in the virus. Yes, I completely believe in the virus. As I've said in this podcast, in podcasts and other videos, the only way out of this situation, apart from a vaccine, but even that's going to take time to implement and to administer, is herd immunity. The whole purpose of flattening the curve and doing all these different types of things was so that the healthcare system can manage the amount of patients that are coming in. And because we haven't seen any major spikes in hospitalizations and deaths, while yes, the number of overall cases seems to be skyrocketing, I don't see the rationale for these lockdowns. Even the World Health Organization, which has not had a great track record in dealing with this particular pandemic, they've come out and said that lockdowns are a last resort. They are should be used, to give your health workers, time to recover if they're overwhelmed. It should give you time to restructure, to organize and prepare for what is to come, which is, whatever the second wave might be. That does not seem to be what's going on. I think the caseload in Wales is well below what, from the peak, the number of cases they had in the peak and so forth, and hospitalizations and death and stuff. It's a lot lower. In fact, the curve had been pretty much flattened until they started implementing the mask mandates. If you look at the charts, and all over Europe right now, they've implemented mask mandates, and yet the caseload continues to rise. So this is not science-based. This is political, as far as I can see it. And I do understand that the First Minister of Wales is an elderly gentleman. He's in a high-risk position. I understand he might be looking to protect himself, and rightly so. I have nothing against that. But those are the people we should be focusing on, the elderly, the vulnerable, and so forth. The young, generally, they have a high survival rate, and they tend to be asymptomatic. Asymptomatic cases very rarely transmit the virus. If you're not coughing, sneezing, and doing other things to aerosol the virus, it's very unlikely that you're going to actually, transmit the virus in any kind of capacity. But here's the problem. The politics of this and the incentives that seem to be surrounding this are terrible, and they don't make any sense. So I think there's £300 million that has been designated by Westminster to support small businesses. I think that's the package that's coming to Wales. And I just think about it. Like, you shut down the country, and then you get to petition Westminster for more taxpayer money to, help the problems that is affecting small businesses, right? That's a great deal. That's terrible political incentives. There's no reason for them not to continue these lockdowns as long as they keep getting, taxpayer money from Westminster. Close it down, you get 300 million, right? And they say, well, it's £100 per every individual in Wales and whatever. Yeah, that's great, but none of us are actually getting the £100. That's going into the bureaucracy, right? That's going into the connected and the political class, and these people are going to benefit from that, but the people of Wales are not. And then this is a great case for socialism, because it shows very much how a bureaucrat gets to determine how to deal best with a situation. So out here in Wales currently, all the small businesses are closed. The big businesses that sell food and other things are pretty much open. Essential services, so I guess like small grocery stores and other things will remain open. I know the butcher that I go to, they are still open. But they're not allowed to sell, quote unquote, non-essential items. So if grandpa shits the bed and you need some new bedding, you're not allowed to go to Aldi or Tesco and pick up something that you would have had to buy anyway, because some bureaucrat has decided what is essential for you. And this is, of course, is the problem with all centralized and socialist economies where you give more and more power to a central government. A bureaucrat determines what you need. Your needs don't determine what you need. And as a result of this non-essential mandate that has been put on these bigger companies, the lockdowns have basically destroyed small businesses. Small businesses, family-run businesses, sole traders, they usually do not have the resources to, stay out of business for any length of time and these other types of things. Right. So then they go and inflict this non-essential rule on the bigger businesses, the Tesco's, the Aldi's, whatever the case might be. Now, while the small businesses are in this lockdown, maybe they could have gone and worked for some of these bigger places, to at least have some income coming in. And these bigger companies would have been able to hire more people because, they would have had the advantage of being able to sell more items. But no. A bureaucrat has decided, no. We're all going to be fair and we're all going to suffer the same. So we're going to ban non-essential sales from these bigger companies, which means these bigger companies are going to have less revenue, which means they can't hire some of the people that have basically been put out of the business. And they've just made this entire situation worse, which is what all centralized governments do. They cut off all of the greatness, the advantages to make sure everybody suffers the same, right? None of this helps the people of Wales. There's no science to support the idea of banning non-essential items. There's clearly nothing to back that up. That is purely a virtue signaling a type of political action that has no basis in reality. And who suffers? The Welsh people. And of course, this is also going to completely boost the sales of Amazon, which is something these people never seem to understand. Like, not everybody shops on the high street. Not everybody is going to shop at these other places. And yes, if grandpa does shit the bed, believe me, it's going to be an Amazon order that's coming in that's basically going to solve that problem. So that instead of that money going back to the companies that could have actually hired more people and softened the clearly growing unemployment problem, no, that's been completely cut off. And now you've gone completely online, which just moves the demographics even further away from high street sales and, big employers. Amazon, yes, hires a lot of people in the warehouse and drivers and these other things. But, again, this is to the detriment of a lot of these bigger companies. So I don't understand any of this stuff. And more than that, if there's all this money that, they're borrowing and stuff like that to, basically pay off the damage that's been done throughout the country. So in the first lockdown, they had the furlough schemes. They had the business support grants. I think small businesses were entitled to up to £10,000. I didn't get any of that. I'm a small business, but I'm a sole director, LLC, limited liability company. Nothing for guys like me. Never mind, I was, paying rent and the rental company had to, get benefits. And nothing for sole director, limited liability companies. But you're telling me that you could print all of this money and, all of these different types of things to basically pay people and pay businesses to keep people on the employment. Wouldn't it have been better spent dumping that money into the NHS so that they could handle more of the influx and just keep the businesses open? I don't know the economics behind the entire thing, but if Wales is getting in this recent lockdown, if Wales is getting $300 million for business support, so it's going to go to supposedly small businesses and what have you, you're telling me that money could not have been sent to buffer up the healthcare system so that we could have continued on, going with our everyday lives and basically boost the capacity of the NHS so that we could have, we'll continue social distancing in the mass if they believe that works. But you're telling me that you can't put that money into the NHS to increase the capacity, increase the intensive cares, buy more ventilators, which I'm pretty sure would have been a lot cheaper. I think £300 million can buy a lot of ventilators and buy a lot of beds. This is all politics at this point. I don't know. I really do hope that there's some kind of accountability group trying to audit where this money is going and where this money is being spent. I don't know very much about Welsh politics. I'm not getting into it, but political shenanigans is something I'm very familiar with. I recognize it when I see it. And that's definitely what seems to be going on out here in Wales. It's supposed to be for 17 days. I have my doubts, especially when the incentives are such that you shut down the country, you get, money from Westminster. I would be very surprised if this only lasts for 17 days. Now, this poses a couple problems for me. Not so much with work and otherwise. I was looking to get probably a pub job or, I'm stuck in the house a lot. My work is online and all these other types of things. I was looking to do something where I could go out and meet people. So I was hoping to pick up a job at a pub or stuff like that. Obviously, I can't do that at this point. All the pubs are closed. Also, I've got another issue since March. I was supposed to do my driving test in March. And of course, that's when we went into the lockdown. And since then, I have moved and I have been trying to, reconnect with a driving school to get the test done. But now they've just locked down again. So I was supposed to restart my driving lessons out here so I could learn the course out here in Aberdare and other things. That's been shut down again. And I believe my theory expires February of next year, and they're not offering extensions. So while I may have had this whole year to get my driving test done, I haven't actually had that opportunity because the whole country has been in lockdown and the driving schools and the testing centers have been closed. So it's annoying at this point. I don't know the details, but I think if all of this money is coming from Westminster for Wales and other things, I would just say bump up the NHS, bump up these facilities, these Nightingale hospitals, send the sick there. I think they spend millions of pounds building up these kind of temporary hospitals and stuff like that, which many of them they closed. So I'm kind of querying, where, all of this money has gone to, and we never used half of these facilities. My opinion is send all of the coronavirus patients into these Nightingale hospitals, free up the NHS and the health centers and so forth to continue their treatments of cancer, diabetes, whatever surgeries and so forth, and only use the established hospital intensive care units once the Nightingale facilities have been filled. But, that's common sense. And as we know, politics is not about common sense. It's about maintaining power and money. And that is the main incentive. And right now, the incentive model is very, very perverse as far as I can see it. Again, I'm not kind of expert. I don't understand a lot of the situation. Maybe you guys have a different opinion. Maybe you guys can explain it to me. Why are the gyms closed? I mean, a bureaucrat gets to decide that the gyms are closed. I understand in Liverpool that they've actually risen up and basically said, no, we're not closing. The gyms are essential. But again, some bureaucrat gets to tell you what you need. That is the whole problem with socialism and communism and centralized planning. A bureaucrat gets to tell you what you can and cannot do and what you need and what you do not need. Right? I don't have that kind of power. They do. And I'm against that. I'm a libertarian. I'm not thrilled with the Conservatives. I'm not thrilled with Labour out here. Don't get me started on the Greens. Even in the Libertarian Party, there's been a lot of shakeups and stuff like that. I believe in empowering individuals with the choices they want to make with their own life. So guys, that's my rant. I'm going to be stuck here until I think November the 6th or whatever the case might be. Nothing much to do. Maybe I'll just start making some more videos, guys. So everybody, if you like this video, be sure to like, share, and comment below. If you disagree with me, that's fine. As I say, I'm not versed in Welsh politics. I'm not claiming to be an expert. I don't understand it. If you have a more insightful, view on things, yeah, sure. By all means, let me, I'm willing to be corrected and taught about these things. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Of course, catch me every Sunday on Religion Zero, as well as the 10K Run podcast with my co-host Amos Joe over in Minnesota. And I will see all of you guys later. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.